So the purpose of this tutorial video is to take us step by step through building a website using free tools. We're going to be using WordPress. We're going to be using the very latest version of WordPress, which is version 5.9. We're going to be building the site not using any particular builders like Elementor or Divi. We're going to be using the native WordPress editor, Gutenberg, but we will be using a free theme that really promotes the use of Gutenberg, and that is the Kadence theme. And we're going to be using the Kadence Blocks, which which enrich the Gutenberg building experience. So this site we see in front of us, this KidSafe Queensland Incorporated site, this is something of our template. This is the goal. We're going to build something reasonably close to this site. This site is built in Divi. We're not using Divi. We're using Kadence and Kadence Blocks. But we will build a site that has most of the elements of this site. These are posts for all of these subjects. It has a header, it has a footer, and this is the site that we're going to build, many elements of this anyway. So we start by having a blank WordPress site, and we install the Kadence theme and the Kadence Blocks. So our starting point will be the installation of WordPress 5.9, the very latest version. You will have followed through the instructions that we had in the session where we're using a local server, and that local server will help you install WordPress version 5.9, and this is the dashboard of WordPress 5.9. This is using 5.9 is really the first step, the first major step into what's called full site editing. I'll give you a very quick look at that. We're not going to be using it, but I will show you over here, editor, and we click that, it opens up the page. This is the home page. There's the home page, and you're able now to edit sections of this. All of these are now able to be edited, and that is full site editing, where you can have a header, some text, a body, and a footer, edit the whole page. Now we won't be using this, but what we will be using is a theme that is really supportive of WordPress 5.9, the Gutenberg editor, and it's heading towards using full site editing. But at the moment, it's really not, hasn't got everything there to fully enable websites to be properly built using full site editing in 5.9. So we're going to use a theme called Kadence, Kadence, and the reason that we're using that as the theme is that the developers of Kadence are really supportive of the use of Gutenberg and the use of full site editing, and so it's a good direction to be in. There are some very good themes available. I know Astra, Divi, there's great builders available, Elementor, WP Bakery. There are many available, but what we want to do is learn at the base level how to work in WordPress without all the extras, and how to do it without using paid for tools. I will be referring to paid tools because one of the things in WordPress is a freemium model. So that's FREEMIUM, freemium. That's a WordPress term you hear a lot, where there's a free version and then a paid version. And I will have links on my website to some of the paid versions where you'll see that the tools we are using, there are even more available in the paid for ones. But Here's how we install a new theme. Actually, 3 very quick things to do before you install the theme. As soon as you get WordPress installed on a site, there are 3 settings you must really change. You go to General and you have to change your location. We're not in Greenwich, we are in Australia and we are in Brisbane. So we choose that one and we save it. So that's the first one. The second one is just down a little further. It's in reading, and we have to discourage search engines from indexing this site and save that. What that does is writes to a file called robots.txt, and Google won't now index this site. The last thing I want to do while I'm developing a site is have Google come and index something that I'm only halfway through, particularly in this case where I'm copying the KidSafe site. I don't want there to be 2 KidSafe sites, the real one and then my tutorial one. So we discourage some search engines from coming to this site. The third setting we need to do is permalinks. Now, permalinks is a reference to this last part here of the URL, and it's a certain structure that we will follow through the site. Unless you have another really good reason not to, the best one to always go for is post name, and we'll save that. And it's a nice short URL, and this last part will be the name of the page, or the name of the blog, or the name of the product. The only other variation you might like to do is to add in a category base into a store or into a blog where you would like to categorize all your blog topics or all your products. And so that would end up being the first part of the URL, and then the category, and then the post name. That's also very, very helpful. So they're the only ones that are really, really worthwhile, unless you've got a great reason to go to use one of the others. So we'll save that. So now we've done the very, very basic things about setting up WordPress. The next step is to go to Appearance. We'll go to Themes, and this shows us that we have just these 3 themes. This is the current one and the very latest one. And this is 2020 and 2021. These are themes developed by the WordPress team, and they're very good themes. But we want to use a theme called Kadence, and so we can type in Kadence just here. These are the 2 other themes that I mentioned earlier, Astra and Hello Elementor. They are exceptional themes, and I've done a lot of work using those. I swapped to Kadence, this theme, only because it was time for me to start to really get to grips with Gutenberg rather than using a builder like Elementor. And so I tried it and actually think it's fantastic, and now I use it exclusively. So we're going to install that. We install that theme and we activate it. So that's now the current theme. So here's the current theme, and here's the other themes that are available and we have loaded. We can actually delete those later on. Now there's one more step that I want to do before we actually start to really work with our theme, Kadence. And that is to install something called a child theme. Now the reason that we install a child theme is that with most themes, when there is an update to the theme, you lose any customizations or changes that you may have made to the theme. Now that's not necessarily the case with Kadence, but it's still good practice to use what's called a child theme. And what happens is when a page is loaded in WordPress, the core is loaded first, then the theme is loaded, and then the child theme is loaded. So any changes in CSS or in CSS that, or in functions PHP, that are made to your theme won't be overwritten. They will be kept safe in the child theme, and the theme underneath can quite safely be updated. So what we're going to do is add a new theme, and we need to upload this one. It's a very simple zip file, and it's got almost nothing in it. They're just empty folders, really, that may be used for storing any changes that we make. So we're going to upload. We're going to choose a zip file, and I now need to find it. Here it is, Kadence. And there will be a link to this file on the website. You'll be able to get hold of it. And we're going to open that and install it. Once it's installed, we're going to activate it. So now our active theme is actually the Kadence child theme, which sits on top of the Kadence theme. So if those couple of changes made to WordPress, we're now about to have a look at this theme, Kadence. We don't need to keep referring to the child theme. That's just a functional thing. We're really using the Kadence theme. The child theme is only there really just to hold some small changes. So I'll keep referring to the Kadence theme, even though the child theme is the actual active one. So now let's have a quick look at the site as it currently is. And it really, there's the header area, there's the footer area, here's the content area, and there's a particular menu. You'll notice there's no sidebar, there's no definition of how wide things are. It's just a very blank. This here is a first blog. Here is a sample page. So there's a page, there's a blog. Just something to see that there is actually a site. What we're going to do now is look at install two plugins that we're going to use for our building, because if we were to look at this page and go to edit it, let's say edit the page, over on this side is where all our blogs are, all our tools are. If we wanted to add, say here, add a block and browse all, they'll come up over here. Here's all the blocks that we have. The basic ones for text, the basic ones for media, the basic design ones, some widgets, some theme things, and some embeds. Now, they are all the blocks that come stock standard with Gutenberg, with WordPress. These are not the Kadence blocks, have nothing to do with Kadence. These are the ones that we could build a site with. What we're going to do though is add a more sophisticated selection of blocks from Kadence to add to our Kadence theme. So here we go. To do that, we go to plugins and add a new, look at the installed plugins, and you'll see that there's really only one, and that is the Lightspeed cache. What that does, because I'm on a Lightspeed server, this hosting is not local, it's on a Lightspeed server, and it has Lightspeed cache, Lightspeed image optimization, and connects to the Google CDN. So let me deactivate it because we don't really use it. We're not going looking for speed at the moment, and it won't get in the way by caching things and causing us to have to keep cleaning out the cache. So that's deactivated. Let's add two plugins. The first one is Kadence Blocks. So this is basically our set of building tools. Here it is here. Gutenberg Blocks by Kadence Blocks. We're going to have that one. And we're going to activate it. And these are all the things that we can manage. We can turn them on, turn them off. These are the things that are available in the blocks. We could also install some Kadence starter templates. I'll give you a look at some of those in a minute because they really are, we're not going to be using them, but I want you to know about them. They're very, very helpful. I want to first install one more plugin, and then I'll show you why. I need to install a plugin called Block Navigation. This is going to help us get around the layout of pages. Here it is. We're going to install that and we're going to activate it. Now, so there are two plugins. If we go to the sample page, for example, and we just go to the sample page and we edit it, we're now working in block view, if you like. Up here is the standard WordPress way of looking at the design of these blocks. There's the 4 blocks there, and you can click this by show more settings, and over on the right hand side you'll see all the settings that we're able to manipulate in relation to this block. I think this list view still has a long way to go, and it's nowhere near as easy to work around as this one that we've just installed, which is called Block Navigation. If we go there, here are the same blocks. There's still only 5 blocks on a page, but we can do an awful lot more, like grab them, move them, and when we get a more detailed page layout with rows and columns and blocks, we can move things between sections. So that block navigation will come into its own later on. Later we will have a look at all of these up here and what they do. This is really the heart of the work we're going to do, is in this area here. These are the tools that we use to build the content here. Okay, so now let me just show you one more thing before we leave, and this is the design library. This is a Kadence thing. You see that K with the funny shape to the left. Once we go into the design library, there are a couple of interesting things in here. One is there are a number of sections that we are able to just use and grab and drop straight into our design. If we wanted to use that on the page, we could just grab it and put it straight into the page. So here it is. That block section has now come in as a block. It's in our page straight from the design library, and we can edit this, change the colors, change the text, use that however we want. That's now available. We don't want it, so we can remove that layout. That's gone. The other thing in the design library I wanted to show you is wireframe. If you use wireframe, you will then need to put in your email address and nominate that you will receive information from Kadence. I don't want to do that now, but it's a quick way to get their wireframe tools, because there are many ways that you can build a wireframe or a quick layout of a design of a website. And we've really skipped over that step because we are copying another website. But I know different people do designs and layouts to work to, because you should really have a plan to build a site, not just go ahead and do it willy-nilly. You can draw it out on paper. I know that Graham draws it out using Excel. Diego uses a tool called Adobe XD, and professional designers tend to use Adobe XD. It's very common. Here's another way to use the Kadence tools to build a rough layout without colors, without pictures. It's all just grays and blocks that you can put in order and get a design of where you're going. This is what I really wanted to show you here, starter packs. So each of these are Kadence starter packs built on a Kadence theme with Kadence blocks. Some of them are marked Pro, and you would need to have the paid for version to get those. But if you were to click any one of these and open it up, you can either bring in just parts, sections, blocks, or the whole website. Now, I did one of these just for fun. I downloaded this template here, starter template, the web agency one. Just for fun, I played around with it, and when I realized that I needed actually to have a website myself, I built on that. And so when you go to my website later on, and I'll be showing you some links and things to get from there, it was built using this starter template. I changed it an awful lot, but and I like the result. That's not what we're doing in this exercise, because we're wanting to learn from the ground up. But starter templates and these ones here are very good to work with. Okay, so here's our sample page. What we're going to do now is explore the theme. We're going to leave the site. There's nothing we need to do there. We're going to look into the theme. Most of the work that we now want to do is done by setting up and customizing the theme. So this little piece over here, appearance, customize, is very important, and we're going to do quite a lot here. The importance of a theme is this. The theme contains some CSS, some HTML, some layout designs, some JavaScript that gives your site a certain look and a certain functionality. There are people that have then taken the word theme and expanded it out to be more like the starting templates that we just looked at a minute ago. We need to keep in mind there's a difference. We are just using a theme to control things like colors, layouts, fonts, sizes, that kind of thing. And these are global. So global settings are really important. So we set them once in the theme, and we don't have to do it all before we start, but this is a good place to start to look. And as we're putting the site together, as long as we don't make small changes to things like fonts and colors and sizes everywhere across the site, as long as we leave it controlled by the theme or the global settings, the site will be much faster, it'll be easier to edit, and you can make global edits. You can, in one small edit in the theme, and it can affect the whole site. And what we're about to do now is to show you how that works. So when we go into General, the first thing we do is see the layout. Now, in our site, this site here that we're using as the template, the first thing we're going to pick out of here is what's called the width of the content, and that's this width here between this side and there. And generally to the outside of that is a background color, and the content, unless you're designing full width, and some site, like here's a full width section, that section there is full width, and that's there for a specific graphic effect. Here we're back within the content, and that content on this site is 1200 pixels. To get that, you would simply right click anywhere on the page and then go down and read through the CSS and read through an inspection of the site. But believe me, it's 1200 pixels. So we're just going to change this to 1200. Anywhere between 1080 or 1100 through to 1280, 1290, they are very common and popular sizes. They tend to be about the size of a laptop, and some people go wider to get the big effect. But something like content max width of 1200, that will set us very well. I know that the narrow set, we're just going to put 900 in there. I know that happens to be the figure, and that's all we're going to change on the layout. We're also going to change the sidebar, and I don't know why this figure, but I did measure it. We won't bother going into it, but the sidebar width on the site that we're copying is 20.5 0.875%. Who knows why, but that's what it is. I've often gone 30% or 33%. They're very common. Now, going to colours. In many themes, you get a selection of 6, 8, 10 colours, and you can just use them willy-nilly all over the site. So wherever you come to a colour selector, there'll be a palette there, and you can select the colours that you want. Now, in here, there are 3 palettes that you can select between, and you can have them set up differently. This link, when you come to look at Customizer sometime, I would advise you to read it once. It's actually worth going to that link. It takes you to the Kadence site, and it will tell you that these colours are used for a specific purpose. These 2 are what's called accent colours. That one will come up, that's accent. This one is accent alt. So they would be used for links, for buttons when you're hovering over. One would be the accent, and accent alt will be when you hover over it. So they're the 2 accent colours. Now, I know that on this site we can change that, and the accent colour is an orange colour. We'll steal it by coming in here, inspecting, going to there, sliding down through here. Maybe we've just got to go out a little bit further. To there, and we'll find this colour in here. There it is. We just copy that and put that in here. And that's the orange colour. And so that's going to come up, and you'll see it all of a sudden is actually used here. So there's accent 1 in use. Accent 2, we're going to go to the site and use this. It's the blue colour, and it's this colour just here. And we can do the same thing. We can inspect. There are other ways to do this, of course. And there's the colour there. We don't want the important bit. We just need this bit. Hope I've got it all. Come here and place it in there. Well, we got the CSS important. We don't need that. That's the colour we want. So these are the 2 colours that are the accent colours. These are the background colours, these 3. And you're already seeing there's white. That's used as the background of the blog, this excerpt of the blog. The next one is a different background colour. This one is probably this colour here. So various backgrounds are used for the site background, the content background, the various backgrounds, and it gives a little bit of division in the site without having lines and all of that sort of stuff. So those 3, we're not going to change them. And then these next 4 are used specifically for text, strongest text, next strongest, etc. And that gives a variety of text colours across the site. Now, we're not going to change any more. We can leave all this. I know that on this particular site, the site colour on the site we're building is actually white. So we're just going to do that. And we can publish that. Back to buttons, we won't bother with. Typography, the whole way that the typography is set up on the site is we start with a base font. And very imaginatively, the base font on this site is actually Arial, believe it or not. And it is. And I believe it's actually regular and 17. So we can stick with that. That is this site here. It's what's used for the P tag, the paragraph tag. is this. Now, the heading font family, wherever there's a heading from H1 through to H6, they're the standard ones in WordPress or in this theme. At the moment, they will just inherit. In other words, they will take everything from the base font. Now, it's actually better to make a division here, even though on this site, believe it or not, it is also Arial. So that's now, if you like, the base for the heading, and I believe that it's actually 40 point. So we will look at some of the other sites, some of the other settings later as we develop the site. We're not going to be changing text through the site. We want to keep these default situations in use. Now, just to show you how this works, that's a heading, that's text. If, for example, we were to change this default, decide we're a bit sick of Arial, let's go for something really silly. We'll go for Comic Sans, and we'll put that in and save it. Or we don't even have to save it. Look, there it is. That's now Comic Sans. And all the heading tags all through the whole site would now be Comic Sans. We could also change the color. That is this color. Let's make it, for example, blue, and save it. All of a sudden it's blue. So the headings are blue. So we're going to take that back to this one, which we know is what it was, and we're not going to have Comic Sans. We're going to have Arial, and we're going to publish. So now that's all we really need to do. In the there's a lot more that we will come back to all of these later on. We've got the sidebar. We can go back to general. What we're about to do now, we'll go out and have a look at the site, and then we're going to come back and build the header and the footer, and that will be enough for today. So let's go back and have a look at the site, just see where we're at. Here's the site. That's, you can see the only header has got a navigation here. It's got a title there. It's got a footer down here, and this is a blog. If we were to go to the sample page, that's all there is on the site. This block up here is called the title block, and so the title of the page shows there. One of the options that we have as we're building pages is whether we want to show the title on the page. Some people don't, and for many pages we won't. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start by building, because it's the simplest one and we can do it very quickly, we're going to build the footer. Now on this site, the site we're copying from, you'll see that the footer is quite simple. Well, we're going to make a simple version of this. This is quite complex actually. And so we're going to make just a very simple bottom row down here. And we're just simply going to have a copyright statement. That's all we're going to have. In fact, we'll just take that bit and copy it. We'll leave all the rest of it. So we'll come here and go back to our favorite place, which is the Appearance Themes Customize. We're going to customize and we're going to go straight to the footer and build the footer, and you'll see that here it is here. We'll see this develop in front of us. There are 3 rows available to us in the footer. We can select the whole of the 3 rows and give it a background color, which we're about to do. And then we've got a top row that currently has 3 sections, but we can add more. We can add more sections in here, and the bottom one just has 1 section. We can add more. All of these are the things that we're able to use in here. We are already using the copyright. So the first thing we want to do is go to the design, and we want to give a footer a background. Now notice these three little icons. One of the things that we're missing out on, we're just flipping by at the moment, is responsive design. And we are currently looking at the desktop view. Later on, we're going to look at the tablet view and the mobile view, and we will be able to design this footer so that it works better on a tablet and on a mobile. There'll be different elements used. At the moment, we're just simply sticking with the desktop view. So we're going to select the color, and here's our template colors here, our global colors, and we know that in the site we're building, it's that color. So we've selected that, and we can publish that. We can also now go to the copyright view and edit. Now we're editing the details of that row, and there's margin, top and bottom, and left and right margin. A style that we can have with the link style. We will just have no underline. The link, the font. This is one of the rare places that we are going to actually overwrite the theme. The theme at the moment is putting that as black. We know that we are always going to want that to be white. So we're going to select that color, and now the text is white. So that's the design. Now we need to look at general. We're going to look at the wording of this. You'll see that they've used a number of macros, or if you like, shortcodes. So the copyright symbol is covered by that. This is the year. So next year, when you come and have a look at this, it's going to say 2023. We didn't have to change anything. It's just going to do that. We don't really want to give credit there, so that bit's gone. And the title, that's a bit of a weird site title, though that's what you would normally put. What we are going to put is the bit that we just copied from the other site, which says that. We can lose the 2021, they're out of date. We're just going to say that. KidSafe Queensland Incorporated, also revert. So that's our footer. There's lots of other things we can say, but we'll come back to doing these when we build the rest of the footer and when we build the mobile. For today, all we want to do is get some color and words on the page. So there's the footer. We can now go to the site, quickly have a look, visit the site. The header hasn't changed, the block hasn't changed, but the footer is now in place. So that was all designed in the theme customizer. Let's go back there again. We're going to do a very simple header. So we're going to go up here at Customize, and we'll go to Header. Now we're building up here. We've got the logo and we've got the primary navigation. Once again, we've got 3 rows and a background area. And on this site, we can say straight away that we want the logo to be in the middle of the middle row. See, it's moved. And we want the primary navigation to be in the bottom of the primary row, because if we go and have a look at the site, they actually have a bar up at the top where they have a donation button. So we'll quickly build that. They have a logo. They don't have all of these words are actually in the logo, and they have a navigation. So we're going to be copying that. Here we go. So there's the logo, there's the primary navigation, and we're going to have, in the top, we're going to actually have a button over there. The top row is slightly different in that in the top row, select it here, we want the background color to be orange, like the footer. There it is. So there's the button. The button actually has the word donation on it, and the text is white. That's good. There is a URL. We'll quickly go and steal it from the site. So we'll go here and we will copy the link address, come across to here and put that URL in there. We want it to open in a new tab. That's all the rest. And we'll come back and work on the button a little bit more. We can get the white line and everything around it a little later on. For the moment, we've got that done. Now we're going to have a look at this next thing. The primary navigation, we have to select a menu. And here we haven't made a menu. So we have to create, and WordPress has the opportunity of building a number of menus. So we will create a new menu, and we'll call that menu main menu. And we will put it in the primary location. So that's good, and we'll save it. Now, main menu, we need to go and edit it. So as we've got these two, so that's good. That's what we want. That'll do for the moment. There are things we will definitely be coming back to do a lot more with the menu later on, but we're going to publish that, and that'll be enough for us at the moment. Okay, so that's got the menu. Now, still working on the header, we've got the logo to do. When you come to a logo, there are some options. You can either have just the logo, or the logo and the title, or the logo, title, and tagline. They're three things that are set up right back in amongst the setting pages. We are just simply going to go for the logo. And now we need to select the logo. And there are no items here, so we're going to upload a file which I've already stolen from the other site, and it's this one there, Kids Safe Queensland logo. Now, notice the name. It's actually a good name to have because it tells you what the file is about. Some of these ones, who knows what that site there that is about, and who knows what that is. It's an unsplashed file of that size, but when Google comes to search later on, it doesn't really know what it is. So you really should, to get the optimum search engine optimization, you really want good names for files like this. So we're going to just select that. The other thing we want to do is take at least that little bit of it, copy it, and put it in what's called the alt text. The alt text is the other thing that Google looks for. The reason that it looks for is that alt text was originally put in place to help access of sites for those who are visually impaired, and browsers were able to read sites and would be able to tell the person through voice what the site was actually about, simply by reading what the images were about. And so that's traditionally become a part of search engine optimization, and Google pays a lot of attention to it. So we're going to select that. We now need to, it says crop the image. We want the whole lot. We're going to save that. You notice it's a large image, but it's PNG. Lisa is very good with another format called SVG, which is Scalable Vector Graphics, and they are even better. Smaller files, scale way better, and they're just fantastic files. Generally use JPEG files on websites, not PNGs. The reason for using PNG is that they have transparency. You'll see that this looks straight through. Whatever we made the background color would show through on this logo, this image, and so PNG is or SVG, Scalable Vector Graphics, are the two most common kinds of files used in header and logo situations. Now we're going to leave it at that point. We could let's remember it's 200. You can make it bigger, smaller. Let's just leave it at 200. You can also do things, let's just save that for the moment. I'm going to do one more thing to this and then we can leave it. Coming down into the bottom row, we're just going to add into the bottom row, into the design, a border. So instead of having no border, we're going to have a line, and it's just going to be one of these colors, not too strong, say that color, and it's going to be 1 pixel, and you'll see it appear now. And now we'll save it. You can change the color of that later, and go to the site. Have a look at the site. Okay, and we have got things on page. We can go to the sample page. We can go home. We can go to the donation. This should open up in another page, another window altogether. There it is, and it's gone to the KidSafe site. We'll go back to our site. And so we've put some things on a page. There's the logo, the header, and the footer. Next week, next time we get together in the next tutorial, we will start to build posts, sidebars, and pages. Thanks very much. That's all in this video.